being in practice for so many years, one of the things that anybody hears me talk about that we discuss often, or people are complaining about, is stress, right? And certainly we live in a very, very stressful world today more than ever. Um, and we know the implications that stress has on the overall quality of life, both mentally, physically, spiritually, right? But one of the things about stress that I often explain to people is that when we're under, that there's two parts of the automatic nervous system, which is your sympathetic and your parasympathetic, right? Your sympathetic nervous system, I explain, is more like the gas pedal. It's go, go, go. It is basically survival oriented. The parasympathetic is the brakes. Your parasympathetics is nurturing, it's healing, it's for growth. So basically, all of the organs, especially the GI system, is parasympathetic dominant. Some of you who are familiar know that the vagal nerve, which is also known as cranial nerve number 10, which comes from your brainstem, is the body's primary parasympathetic nerve. Okay, so it goes to all of these organs, especially the gut, right? But in ongoing chronic stress, right, we're in a survival state, is the sympathetic nervous system will override the parasympathetic. It basically shuts it down. And it gets to the point where basically the vagal nerve almost becomes atrophied. We can't turn it back on. So obviously, if we're in a chronic, ongoing, long-term sympathetic stress response, you see, is all the blood is pulled away from the gut. This is why so many people have ongoing chronic digestive problems. Right? We tend to think of GI problems specifically in the gut itself. We think about probiotics, but we tend to forget about the brain's component or the nervous system's component to our gut environment and our gut health and how we feel. Now, that being said, why I'm bringing this to your attention is because there is something that we can do on a daily basis that is easy and it's even free. That's right, it's free, right? Which is breathing. So I want to just take a few minutes today to talk to you a little bit about breathing, what we call breath work, and how that can make a dynamic change to your state of stress, how it can lower the sympathetic response and turn on your parasympathetics, right? And make huge improvements in your gut environment. But also, when we think about parasympathetics, right, it can help lower blood pressure, as an example. It can improve our mental states, make us more mentally alert. It allows us the ability, when we're in these more calm states, to make better decisions, especially making better decisions when we're in a stressful situation. So let me just walk through this for a few minutes with you, then I'll get on to some of the questions that we were receiving. So going back to breath work, is, really there's two ways that we breathe, right? We either breathe through our nose or we breathe through our mouths, right? Inhale and exhale. Well, when we breathe through the nose, right, which is really the appropriate way to breathe, is that's how you bring in more oxygen directly into the lower part of your lungs. Right? So we get more oxygen coming out. And if we exhale through our nose, right, to get rid of the carbon dioxide, right? So we breathing in through the nasal passages and exhaling through the nasal passages activates the parasympathetic nervous system. When we breathe in through our mouths and exhale through our mouths, we are turning on the sympathetic nervous system. So basically right now, because I'm speaking to you, right, I'm using my mouth to breathe and speak, is I am turning on my sympathetics, right? So that's okay. Right? But in order to try to control this, we can actually practice breathing exercises. So if you think about this, I mean, I'm just kind of getting on here a little bit, but if you think about how monks practice not speaking for 30 days, they're not speaking, right? They're just breathing through their nose, which is putting them into a very calm and relaxed state. When you practice yoga, not yoga or meditation, in the access of meditation, what are you doing? You're not speaking. Right? And you just concentrate on slow, deep breathing. So if we just can kind of consciously just breathe. So I'm actually practicing this myself, and they do this now in performance exercising to enhance the ability for elite athletes. which is when you're doing endurance training, or let's say just for the average person, if you're going out for a walk, try just breathing in through your nose and out through your nose while you're going for the walk. All right, let me back up. Let's do this. Let's just do this for fun. All right. If you're kind of listening to this live, or even if you listen to the recording of this, if you're just sitting down in a nice calm situation, position, just check your pulse. You can either check your pulse by pressing on your wrist, right, and feeling your pulse that way, or you can uh, put your fingers over your carotids in the front of your neck and see if you can get your pulse there. And just count out the pulses or the timing of the pulse, or just get a sense of how fast it's going. And then what you do is, sitting comfortably, is takes a slow, deep breath in just through your nose with your mouth closed, as deep as you can go, and then exhale easily through your nose. Breathe in again, deeply through your nose. Exhale deeply through your nose. Repeat that 4 times. On the 4th count, when you exhale through your nose, hold the exhaled breath for as long as you can. Okay? Some of you may only be able to hold it for 4 or 5 seconds. Others may go much longer than that. Okay? What makes a person feel uncomfortable and feeling the gasp for air is really the imbalance between carbon dioxide and oxygen. Okay? But when you're ready, release, take another breath in through your nose, and then just repeat that 3 times. So you'll do 4 inhales and outhales naturally. On the 4th exhale, you hold the exhale for as long as you can. When you're ready, release and breathe in again through your nose and out nice and easy, for 4 times, hold it. Do that for 3 simple cycles. And when you get done, recheck your pulse. And I can almost guarantee you're going to feel your pulse slow down pretty dramatically, right? Which is lowering your blood pressure, which is turning on your parasympathetics, right? By turning on your parasympathetics, your brain is now communicating to your gut, and you're helping your vagal nerve and your gut environment uh, get back into that non-stressed state. Okay, now you're emptying your lungs at the end of the 4th, but you're holding that emptiness. You breathe in, you exhale fully, and then you don't take a breath and you hold for as long as you can. And then when you feel the need to breathe again, then you breathe back in again slowly with your nose and out again. The point is, what you're practicing is breathing through your nose. So I've listened to this where they've taken athletes, pristine athletes, where they can get their heart rate up to about 140 beats per minute, where they have to breathe in through their nose, but exhale through their mouths. Okay, but the conditioning is how they get them past that. And when they practice this, they can even get now their heart rate up to about 170 beats per minute, only doing nasal breathing. Okay, which dramatically increases oxygen input to the body, okay, and balances on carbon dioxide. So it's a really cool way that we can start to just turn on our parasympathetics, lower the sympathetic response, right, which is nurturing, healing. It's anti-stress. It improves energy to the brain, and it can help our digestive tracts. Okay, if anybody wants me to go into heavier detail or exercising and do a whole class on that, we can do that. But I thought, just to get things started today, that would be a kind of a cool thing to discuss. I've actually been practicing that myself, right? And it's kind of challenging at first. You kind of see where your weaknesses are, but the more that you do it, the better that you get. So even if it's simple, if you're going just out for a walk, like I try to do some high intensity stuff, usually at least maybe once a day, like just maybe like 4 or 5 rounds of maybe 30 minutes of a jumping rope, or 30 minutes of 30 seconds, I'm sorry, 30 minutes, 30 seconds of mountain climbers or burpees or whatever I can do to get my heart rate up, get my pulse going up, right? But now I'm practicing doing that just through nasal breathing. Okay, and I'll give you another visual, which I just really learned recently. It's interesting. Just this past weekend, right, was if anybody who watched, was the Kentucky Derby, and it is fascinating that when you watch racehorses breathe nasally. You never see a racehorse run with their mouth open. Okay, they can't do it. In fact, it could almost kill them. All right, they can only get that high performance when they're breathing strictly through the nasal through their nose, breathing in more oxygen into the lower lobes of their lungs so they have more energy. When we're doing mostly mouth breathing, unbeknownst, you're what you're actually doing is you're hyperventilating. Okay, you're actually hyperventilating. Okay, and so you're pushing out too much carbon dioxide, and so your carbon dioxide to oxygen ratios is imbalanced, and that actually puts the body physiologically into a more acid environment, what we call metabolic and or respiratory acidosis. Okay, a little fancy language, right? But we know that the body being unhealthy and disease is when the body is more acid, right? So when we're breathing through our mouths, is we're going into more of that hyperventilation state, and we're pushing our bodies more into an acid state. Okay. Now, that said, if you're out running sprints and you got to breathe through your mouth or you're lifting heavy weights, that's a different story. But we can all practice a little bit of just nasal breathing. Even if we take just 5 minutes a day and just slow down and just practice this, it will reset the tone of your nervous system.